Well, good afternoon. I'm glad y'all are all here and y'all could all make it. I know we kind of have busy lives nowadays, so I'm glad y'all could make it in tonight. Um, my name is Wendy, and I'll be your facilitator for the group sessions that we have. I want to go ahead and say that we'll be having them every Monday night at 5, like we are today. Is that okay? All right. So, what I'd like to do to begin with is just go ahead and explain my role as a facilitator, and then after that, I want to get y'all's feedback on what y'all expect out of the session as well. Does that sound good? Okay. My role as a facilitator is to kind of provide y'all with some coping skills on how to deal with stresses in your life, anxiety in your life. My goal is to guide you in how to do that. My goal is to help you feel comfortable with yourself and talking within the group. Now, I'm not going to tell you what you have to say or what you have to do, but when things get a little slow, I might, do an exercise or something to help it along. Does that make sense? Okay. So what I expect from you is for you to be on time. I expect you to be respectful to one another. And I expect when you talk to one another to make eye contact when you're talking to someone, okay? Because that's just very respectful. And then they'll know, that you're speaking to them. Okay? So I want to go around the room and see what y'all's expectations are of the group. So,
I think I just expect to feel better, to maybe reduce my anxiety and have some support. I do. I just want to feel better. Get rid of some of this so I'm not so tight all the time and in knots.
okay.
What's up? I'm anxious all the time.
Okay.
I'm gonna piggyback. I'm gonna cut down on anxiety.
Okay. So it sounds like a lot of y'all want to know how to deal with anxiety, how to cut back the anxiety, how to cope with it. So that sounds like a common theme that I'm hearing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Right. Sometimes you can't, so you have to learn coping skills to be able to go on. True. Okay. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to pair y'all up, you two and you two, and I want y'all to introduce yourself to one another. And I want you to say your name, where you're from, and I want you to pick out one thing in your life that makes you the most anxious. So I'll give y'all a few minutes to do that amongst yourself.
My name is Lamont, and one thing that makes me performing in concerts. This overuse has gotten harder and harder and harder to make sound. And I am from Atlanta.
I'm Petra. I'm from Texas. And
Where in Texas?
And one thing that makes me nervous would be speaking in concerts.
So me and you in the same boat. Do you talk a lot in front of people at work or something?
Okay, are y'all about ready to share? Okay. With this, what I want you to do is I want you to introduce the person that you told your anxiety to in your name. I want you to introduce the other person. So we're going to start with you, and I want you to introduce who you were talking to.
This is Miss Centra Robinson. She is from Texas, specifically Houston, Texas. The thing that makes her most anxious is getting up and talking in front of groups. And apparently she's supposed to do that a lot at work, but hasn't been doing so much.
Nice to meet you, Centra.
This is Ahmad. He is from Atlanta. And the thing that makes him have more anxiety is playing concert music in front of people.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty neat. So you play in front of people?
Yes,
That's neat. Wow. That's awesome. Well, nice to meet you, Lauren. Okay.
This is Anne, and she's from Ohio. And the thing that makes her the most anxious is school.
Okay.
This is Taylor, and she's from Dalton, Georgia, and school is what makes her most anxious also.
Okay. So Both of y'all say that school makes you anxious. So, what are you doing in school?
A lot.
Like, are you in your graduate degree or
Mhm.
undergrad?
Graduate.
So, what makes you anxious about that?
Just there's so much work and trying to work full time and do an internship is just a lot. It's
Wow.
just
Okay.
There's
So,
videos and stuff in it that just, I don't like to do that at all.
so you don't really care about doing the videos?
No. Makes
I
me
can-
really, really, really anxious.
I can understand that. I can see how that would make you anxious. So, well, it sounds like a lot of the group has an outside factor that makes you anxious. So y'all have school and you have work and you have getting in front of people to play you said trombone, right? Okay. So it sounds like y'all have a lot of things that are outside that makes you nervous. So, since this is a group anxiety, I want to get a level of where y'all are at right now with your anxiety about being in the group. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no anxiety at all, best day of your life, 10 being the worst anxiety you've ever felt. I want you to tell me where you're at on that scale. Taylor?
only an 8 right now.
An 8. Okay, so you feel like you're an 8 because you're in the group?
Yeah.
Okay. And?
Probably a 9.
A 9. Wow, that's pretty high. Okay. Central?
Yeah, I'm probably a 9.
A 9. Come on. Where are you at on that scale?
5.
About a 5? Okay. Well, it sounds like everybody is 5 and up, so that seems pretty anxious. So what I want to do is an exercise to try and calm that anxiety down a little bit. Are y'all willing to do that? Okay, so I want you to put your feet flat on the floor and your hands on your knees. And then I want you to visualize when you breathe in, all that air that you're breathing in is going to make you relax. When you breathe out all that anxiety and that worry that you're feeling right now, okay? So are y'all ready? I'll kind of try and guide y'all through that. So close your eyes. Breathe in real deep through your nose. Breathe out through your mouth and let all that anxiety out. Breathe in through your nose real deep. Breathe out through your mouth and let all those worries and anxiousness and stress just come out. Okay, when y'all are ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Okay. So, that seemed to help a little bit? A little bit? Y'all think that's something y'all could do later on when you're feeling anxious? Okay. All right. I think that's a good exercise that you can take with you when you're having these issues with anxiety. So what I like to do also as another exercise is I like to know how you're feeling through your body when you're anxious. So I want you to complete a sentence. It's going to be, when I feel anxious, my body, and then tell me what your body feels or what it's doing at the time. Centra, I'll start with you.
When I feel anxious, my body shuts down, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like I freeze. Wherever I am, I just stop.
So when you are talking in front of people, like you said at work, that's what you feel in your body. You just freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you normally do when that happens?
I normally have a person that's my backup. So if I freeze, then they kind of take over.
Ahmad? When you feel anxious, your body.
When I feel anxious, my body tenses. Yeah. It just tenses.
So when you feel anxious, your body tenses up.
My breathing becomes shallow. All of a sudden, I can't concentrate on what's going on with the music around. I sort of get shut into myself. Yeah.
Taylor?
When I'm anxious, my body feels heavy. I have to move all the time.
And
I get woozy, like dizzy and tingly and
Well, one thing I want y'all to realize is that's all normal reactions to anxiety. Now, one thing I like to do is I like for you to think about what the other people in the group said. And do you feel that way sometimes as well? Did any of y'all feel the same symptoms that the other person talked about? Ahmad, what some of the symptoms that you heard other people talk about that you feel?
The shutdown.
The shutdown.
One time it got so bad I stopped in the middle of the concert.
Centra, is there anything that anybody else felt that you felt as well?
The fidgeting.
So you fidget as well. And
Yeah. I tense up too when all that's going on. Really tensed up.
I would say I shut down.
so it sounds like a lot of y'all, you see how that it's not just isolated to you, that normally happens to everybody, and that it's a symptom that everybody seems to have. So maybe that'll make you feel a little better when you're feeling these, to know that other people feel this way as well. Does that help? Anybody want to talk about how that might help them? Well, I know whenever I find out that somebody feels the same way as I do, it just makes me feel a little bit more normal. A little bit, hey, it isn't just me. Do some of y'all feel that way as well? Does that help your anxiety level go down a little bit when you realize that somebody else has those feelings?
It helps me.
Okay. Now I noticed that when y'all are talking, y'all kind of look down a lot, so I really would like for y'all to try and make a little better eye contact. Is that okay? Okay. Okay. So whenever
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do people ever get relief from this?
you want to know if people get better from anxiety?
Yes.
Well,
Better at dealing with this stuff. Better not always feeling this way. Does it get better?
we have a few clients that can't even make it through the session. So like they'll come in and they can't, cope with being in here with other people because their anxiety levels are so high. So a lot of times they have to leave the room. And I've seen those exact same people after, 12 weeks of the group therapy really be able to go in front of a group and speak to the group. And a lot of times I've seen them actually speak to a group about anxiety. So, that's always exciting.
Oh, yes it is. That makes me feel better.
Well, good. That was a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Does anybody else worry about that? About being able to cope with it? Taylor, do you worry about that? So, do you think that it's a good thing that there's people that done well after the group? Okay.
I give you a little hope.
I guess I'm a little bit pessimistic. We're dealing with stuff with our jobs and stuff. It's just, the rest of our lives, I can't play, I can't make money, I can't live. It's like their stuff is sort of their school. Like, it's the same stuff going to work for our stuff as our livelihood. Versus
School's very hard.
Yes. Okay.
We should
Remember,
make money.
Yeah. Right.
remember our rules where we said we were going to be respectful, and we need to remember that their anxiety, remember they had a lot of the same symptoms as you did, so they're feeling the same things you did about school as you did about work. And I appreciate you being honest with us about that. How do y'all feel about that, about his statement?
Kind of makes me angry.
So you want to look at him and tell him that?
That made me angry.
That's very good interaction because, you felt comfortable enough to say that. So that shows me that your anxiety was a little lower for you to feel comfortable. And it was really good that you were able to, look at him and tell him that upset you. I think that's very important. And I think as a group, it'll bring us closer and feel more comfortable. And that brings me to another thing that I had forgot to mention, but confidentiality. What I'm meaning is you can't really go home and talk to your family about, things that Ahmad said or Centra said or Taylor said or Ann said. Does that make sense? Now, you are more than welcome to go home and tell your family what you said and how you interacted with me, even, and that may even be therapeutic for you when you get home to be able to talk about the anxiety and about how you felt and how you dealt with it, how you did the exercise. Does that make sense? Okay, and another thing that we need to discuss real quick is everything that you tell me is confidential unless there is intent to harm someone. And if you tell me that you intend to harm someone, then I have the duty to report it to the proper authorities. Does that make sense? Okay, and then another thing is if you tell me that you want to harm yourself and you have a plan, then I have to report that as well. Okay, those are the only two times that I can break confidentiality. Do y'all understand that? Okay, I'm sorry I didn't go over that to begin with, but thank you for letting me remember that. So, anybody have any questions about that part? Okay. So, do you remember at the beginning of the session where we had talked about our anxiety levels from 0 to 10? After we kind of spoke about our anxiety and we did the breathing exercise, I want to go back around and kind of see where you're at now. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to start with Ann. Where are you at on that scale from 0 to 10? The same. 0 being best day of your life, 10 being most anxious.
Probably about the 7 now.
So 7. So you were at a 9 to begin with. So you came down a little bit. So that's good. So what do you think helped? Do you think it was a breathing exercise or just?
I think it helped me to be with everybody here is experiencing some of the same things that I am, and I think that helped a lot to be with people that understand what I'm going through.
Okay. So you feel like knowing that they were having the same symptoms as you really helped your anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Taylor, where are you at on that scale?
I think I'm at a 6.
6. And you said 8 before, correct? Okay, so you're at a 6. So what do you think brought that down a little bit?
Probably just hearing that other people do feel the same way I do. And I think just talking about some of it made me feel a little better and having some support.
So talking about it, having some support, hearing that other people feel the same way seems to have brought it down a little bit. Okay, good. Mike?
4.5.
4.5. So you were at a 5 before. So you weren't real high before though. So what made it come down that 0.5 for you?
We just started talking. I'm more of a person I get nervous when I don't know what people are feeling and thinking. So talking.
So us talking about our anxiety and the exchange y'all had and how everybody's feeling kind of makes you feel a little less anxious. Okay, good. Centra? You're still at a 9. Okay, well, that's something that we'll dig a little deeper into every session, and hopefully we can provide a few more exercises and coping skills that can bring that on down. Okay, but the good point is you didn't go up. So that's an improvement that you didn't go up, whereas before you had said when you get anxious, you just shut down. So I don't think you shut down in this session, so I think that's a real good thing. Okay, well, I think that's about it for today. Do y'all have any questions or anything that y'all need to ask me or anything like that? Okay, well, I will see y'all next Monday at 5 o'clock, and I appreciate y'all being honest. And one more thing, when you feel those feelings in your body that we had talked about, I want you to try to stop and do that breathing exercise. Okay, do y'all think y'all could do that? So maybe a little bit of homework for next session, and then next week maybe y'all can tell me how that helped, if it helped you. Sound good? All right. Y'all have a good week.
Thank you.
Thank you.